So we'll see how that goes and see how long it takes for us to shut down. What topics are we covering today? Trying to remember.
Okay, you're lucky I wrote shit down. FNAF.
Okay. You've seen it?
Yeah, Peacock.
Yep.
The Don't Eat Gum drama.
The what?
The Don't Eat Gum drama. That couple that got kicked out of Scarefest.
Oh, okay. Okay, Don't Eat the Gum drama. Okay.
Yeah. And those, like, you want me to bring up Craig Blake.
Oh, because that was related. He's like an artist that did something similar. And yeah, he's been reported to several other shows, and like it's a different scenario. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
we'll do that deep dive, and this, at least on my end, that we could probably talk about. I don't know how much. At least on my end, because I didn't really, I was saving it for us chatting. Is that my experience at the Ren Fair promoting? That was at the end of October. Ki Hoi Kwan stealing his scenes in Loki season 2. He's the dude that was in Everything Everywhere at Once, aka
Indiana Jones.
Data,
He was also in Encino Man as the president of the computer club. I found that out this weekend.
And
didn't he also play Data in Goonies?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. And the new Rick and Morty voices.
I haven't really watched the new season yet, so I'm probably gonna have to let you go on that. I've basically watched like the trailer. I mean, I can pop on HBO Max and watch them, I guess. But
and I don't know if you want to cover it, and I could also rant about I watched The Jester featuring Jesse L. Green.
Okay, I mean,
guy that we know.
Okay.
So it's an indie film. You know how we are in regards to hearing indie films, so we have a lineup. We have shit to talk about and shit that we could hashtag rant about. So,
indeed. So, what's the verdict?
You went longer. Don't let the color affect your brain cells.
Actually, it's my natural color.
Explains a lot.
Yeah. Because even my natural hair is like up against my shoulder blades now, and it's getting everywhere. Willow's been laughing at me because difficulties eating and freaking myself out thinking that something's moving from behind, and here it's just my hair whipping. It has made some interesting evenings at work where I'm just like, hello? Hello? Because, I work in my section pretty much alone.
Yeah, even though this is pre-show shit, folks at home, like, comment, subscribe, usual things. Don't forget to engage with us.
I've got the perfect name for our pre-show stuff.
What?
Since it's exclusive to like OnlyFans, and then whenever you stick it up for the Long Coat Mafia podcast, we can call it the I'm Gonna Pre-Show.
I'm gonna pre-show.
I'm gonna pre.
Sponsored in part by
W. Have you snorted your W today?
Since we're too tiny for anything like that, I don't think they're not really bitching about. Well, at least I didn't receive an email saying don't tell people to snort W. So, however you intake W, that's on you. some things
They'll see us
might
with pipes here soon trying to light it.
drinking it is not doing it anymore.
You see me over here? We're going to the source.
I'm going to the source. And I'm
Oh,
going
straight
without
on
heat.
in. But no, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
anniversary
And folks,
stuff was fun,
yeah.
so that's a plus. And concert last night was wow. Like
I
I
know
thought it was funny.
it's been a while. Folks at home watching or listening, I know it's been a while. I know you're sick and tired of my end with all the filler shit, regards to everything. And I know I'm tired of it. You're tired. You listeners are tired of it. But here's something new. Depending on how long we're doing this episode, I might split it up in 2 parts. Instead of it all being on Wednesday, it might be Wednesday and Friday. So you might
We'll
be
take
getting
care of
3
it in
episodes this
post.
week. We'll do it in post. I know with Sasha's anniversary, and thank you for that spaghetti zombie episode that we posted up on Halloween aspects. That did rather well, I think. I don't know how many you got. It might have gotten the mid-20s, maybe, kind of, sort of. But
Well, there are some popular Fulci films, like The Beyond, I think is even getting like a reissue. Granted, Trevor
Beyond,
slapped me for not knowing this, but
From Beyond is just one of those
Severin.
mindfuck films.
Severin is dropping the Beyond. It's very H.P. Lovecraft, very, very H.P. Lovecraft inspired, but you can tell they were making it during the height of all the zombie stuff, so they have to put reanimated corpses in it for whatever reason. But it's a head trip.
So far it's up to 24 total. Drop date on
bad.
October 14th, so it's not bad for us. And right now
We do it for the lulz, people.
Yeah, we're our own little lolcow podcast. And
oh my god!
So far, what?
There's another update that we need to discuss since we discussed lolcows. Guess who's back? Back again.
Back
on
in
the internet.
Christian.
And we have confirmation. It is she, her.
Right now, for the sake of numbers for Sasha, between the 1st and the today, I'll say today, technically, since it's, well, soon to be tomorrow, according to Podbean, because they go by that Greenwich Mean Time bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
But as of right now, Maryland's in the lead with 24 total downloads. That's right. These people.
Crab people.
Below that is Florida with 16.
I think it's because we say Florida so often that they're like, what the fuck are these fuckers saying about us?
Then it's Virginia. Let me say this. It could be Virginia, West Virginia, depending on where the people are located. Because I'm having trouble with that. Because if I download something, let's say I test the download speeds using, or I use one of my other accounts to make sure everything's playing right, the file's okay with download, it doesn't come up as West Virginia. It comes up as either Maryland or Virginia. And even that's coming up as issues because I'll put it like this, because Virginia has some bans on certain websites. I can't look at those websites because the server is, I guess, located in West Virginia, and it's like, Well, you're not a West Virginia resident. Yes, I am. No, you're not. You're living in Virginia. No, West Virginia is its own fucking state.
Yep.
I'll put it like this. Its main reason, like, uh, Virginia has this law that you can't look at. You need like submit to a site like OnlyFans, that you need to show an ID to prove that you are an adult, and therefore, a site that hasn't done it to OnlyFans yet, but sites like OnlyFans can be blocked. Meaning, at some point, I could lose access to OnlyFans or people that subscribe to your channel on OnlyFans if they're like in the West Virginia panhandle. They could lose access to watching your content because, according to whatever server that they're being routed through, could be showing that they're not living in West Virginia, they're living in Virginia, and therefore OnlyFans is a blocked site because it's pornography.
Insane. It's not all pornography. There are some comedians on there. Now, some of them don't wear clothes. There's even some cooking shows on there. And some of them chefs don't wear clothes, but not all of them.
Hey, I haven't seen TNA on TikTok. Well, there's TNA on TikTok, but there are things that you could tell what they're doing, and it leads, good chance if you went to that profile, it's leading to OnlyFans. So I'm like, geez.
Yep. No, that
let me put it like this. There's a good bunch of TikTokers that I follow that have OnlyFans, but I want to say they're not the ones that are going out and being doing this equivalent of, I'm going to wear this busty, very revealing stuff on doing stupid stripper dances on TikTok so they can lure simps over to their OnlyFans, but they're doing reacts, or they're doing actual content, and they probably got over their time that they've been on TikTok, some bunch of folks going, I would love to see your tits. And they figured, you know what? Hey, with everything, the price of gas and price of food going up, hey, if it brings in a couple extra bucks a month, then that's what they're doing, And it's like,
sometimes I can go off the dollar menu.
Yes, especially if they're doing like, hey, for $5 a month, for the first month, or $10, and it's not like, I know there's probably a few OnlyFans folks that if you want to see their TNA, it's $34.95 a month. But you have a few other folks that's like, hey, it's like $5-10 a month, and hey, $10, what's $10? It's a value meal at Wendy's or something like that. And
yeah,
at least for 30 days, you satisfy the urge of seeing your favorite TikToker with their shirt off, or what have you.
It's like I tell people all the time, like, if you're gonna spend money to look at somebody for whatever reason, support your friends that are on OnlyFans, because at least you know where the money's going. It's not going to some major corporate conglomerate, because like, I have a good friend that's in that industry. Again, no judgment. And she'll tell you straight up and up that, like, she gets screwed when it comes to residuals and royalties. You think the whole Actors and Writers Guild was a big deal? No, the adult entertainment industry gets, pardon the turn of a phrase, but royally fucked when it comes to payments.
I spoke to she has her own YouTube channel and all that, but she does OnlyFans, for side hustle or whatever. She was doing a live stream. This was, I want to say, it was like last year or something like that. And she was saying, yeah, I got it, her an OnlyFans if you are interested in that. And I post up lewds, nudes, and all that. And like I put in the chat, like I feel like a creeper, just subscribing to your channel. She's like, don't. I do it because I want to do it. You have, it's like you have my permission to do it. It's why it's there. You shouldn't really feel like a creeper, but and in some ways, there are some cases.
It's
Yes,
one
it
of
can be
the few
addictive.
times, and this is how I see it, but everybody's got a friend in their friend group that they stare at and we're like, damn, I wish I could see her naked or him naked. And you know what? They might have an OnlyFans, and here you are supporting them. And it's the one few time that you can get away with being a perv. And they're going to be appreciative because, hey, you just spent $5 a month to help them out, or more if you tip,
Right.
And there are people, like I said, who are using the platform for more than that. You've got comedians that are getting discovered off of that platform. Like, for example, Matt Rife, big comedian right now. It's rarely discussed, but he started on OnlyFans. And he
Yeah, I
just
know who
does
Matt
stand-up.
is. He does a lot of shit that he does that's hysterical.
Yes, and he's not nude. He just tells jokes, and his whole thing is audience reaction. Because when you see one of his shows, if you go to another show for that later date, it's not the same crap because he does audience interaction. That show changes depending on who the audience is.
And the thing is, yeah, I understand the aspects of that porn can be addictive, but
So is
when
gambling, so is
so
smoking,
is
so
gambling,
is drinking.
there's a lot of stuff. But with a lot of things that are out there, I'll put it like this because right now you probably if you folks out there if you heard the Wednesday episode, yes, it was a rehash of Sasha's panel that she did, I think back in 2021 in regards to mental health. It was when Waynesboro Street
Yes.
thing.
One
I
from
shared
the
it out because
archives.
one from the archives. It's basically, even though there's a mental health awareness month, November is men's mental health awareness.
And that should be
Yeah,
most important
and
because men's
and
mental health isn't addressed as much as it should be.
right. And right now, a lot of folks, there are a lot of popular TikTokers that are out there that bring up mental health, and they're very good at explaining it. And um, one of the things that some can bring up that men are now having an issue when it comes to women, that it's not just, you might have folks that are looking as handsome or attractive as Matt Rife, that they're feeling even
Wait. Let's rewind.
what
Did you just say that Rife is attractive?
it, people consider him attractive.
No. You said
I don't say,
not as attractive
well,
as Matt Rife.
it's either Matt Rife or go with the standard
I don't
of
judge.
Ryan Reynolds. So go against the norm, go with Matt Rife, all right? Go against the norm. Since when do we go with the norm on this show?
Just saying.
But there's the issue of a lot of folks that it's like, why don't you approach women? It's like, even no matter if they might have issues like I might have issues in regards to approaching women, it's not the aspect of, well, it's more along is I'm not fearing the no, it's fearing the ew, no, I ain't talking to you. And it's the whole aspect of, at least with a site something like OnlyFans, I could see that person, whether it wearing a not safe for work outfit or seeing them bare chested or fully nude without getting that ew no and getting away with it. It's
I
getting
get you.
that permission. But it's, let me say this, there is that aspect of knowing how far to, yes, you could be a creeper on OnlyFans as well, but it's a matter of knowing if you're taking it too far. If you're taking it too far, please seek help. And in regards to men's mental health, yes, it's a thing.
It's an
And
important
like
thing.
always, it's an important thing. Because there's even today, there's a lot of folks. Oh, you sharing your feelings. You're a guy. Grow a spine. Grow. What happened? Your balls haven't dropped yet. That whole aspect.
That's
And you
societal
have
bullcrap. Yeah.
and it's societal bullcrap. And you have. It's not just that. When you have, and it's another thing that a lot of women are kind of like, well, we want. It's that, I'll say it like this. It's that stereotype. You see it come up on TikTok every now and again. Oh, we want guys that are, emotional and all that, but when they become emotional, it's you're, X, Y, and Z. And it's why it's an important
It's the
thing.
whole ninth guy principle. You know that.
Right. Yeah.
Do I have to explain the ninth guy? Do you know what I mean by the
No.
ninth guy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's the same thing I'm thinking out, it's the aspect of if you have eight guys in a bar, they're hitting on that woman, they're doing everything to get that girl to either notice them or what have you. And so when that ninth guy comes in, he doesn't give a fuck about her.
He's like, hey, sup?
He might
Gets his drink and leaves.
Yeah, sup, drinks up and just goes to the corner to, and that's probably the guy that she's going to go with or might feel attracted to because he doesn't give a fuck about her. And it's sad, but
it's got an
it's a
air
weird
truth.
thing. It's got an air of truth.
Yes, ladies, as a trans woman, I can agree that is a problem.
But and that's one of the few things working in a bar I've noticed, because I have that aspect of I've been single for so fucking long. It's like, fuck you. I don't need you. And I get a few, glances and smirks. I'm like, but I'm not used to being flirted on. But that's one
happen.
just fellow's opinion. It happens.
It happens with booze and axes around. It can happen, sir. It can happen.
It happens. But I know when alcohol's involved, it's, hey, you're not. How much you had to drink? Oh, I hadn't had. And that's alcohol talking, not you. So
you can call this when you're sober.
Yeah, here's my number. Call it when you're sober.
Oh, here, let me leave you a note from your sober self.
Don't.
Do not do this. Do not do that. Pizza's in the fridge. Dumb and Dumber is beside the DVD player. You'd be as stupid as that movie is if you did any of the things I told you not to do. Yeah.
One of the things I've been trying to do as of late for the folks that do subscribe to, at least on my Twitter and the things, I've been trying to promote the new, it's relatively new, I don't know how long they've been around, is Good Pods. It's my folks, it's similar to a lot of the podcasting apps that are out there, but it's closer aligned with the Podbean app, meaning you can leave comments, you can actually rate individual episodes. So if you like an episode, you can leave a comment on, tell folks what you like, you can share it to a feed.
Spotify's like that now, which is kind of cool.
So but it's a little bit lesser known, they don't really push the bigger creators on. Yeah, you could probably find bigger creators, but
no, with Spotify, it's interesting because you will hear even the smaller creators like tell people, hey, when you're done listening to this episode, because the way Spotify is set up, you have to listen to at least one full episode from that creator before you can review them. And like there are creators out there that are like, hey, once you're done listening to us, and if you listen the whole way through, please leave positive feedback, because it's not how many people are listening, It's how many people are listening the whole way through the episode, and then how well that show is reviewed, and that brings them up higher in search results on Spotify. Because my friends from Camp Nightmare and JD and them, they're like, yeah, like you need to get on Spotify, and as long as you're promoting it and getting people to listen, it'll turn out. You know, you just got to get them to listen to that one full episode, and boom.
Last month we had 11 people listen to us on Spotify. Apple Podcasts has been our between Podbean and Apple Podcasts were our top two last month. With 121 being Podbean and 38 being Apple Podcasts, and at least with this month, switch it back to November. 49 Podbean, 26 Apple Podcasts, and 3 only Spotify. But I'm trying to weed folks off of Google Podcasts because as of maybe next year sometime, it's going to I don't know how YouTube is doing it. YouTube in regards to their podcast is, you know, how they handle shit is they'll probably fuck shit up. I don't know what's going on, how, you know, they're dealing with audio shit. But when you look at the YouTube aspect of podcasts, it's strictly using a service like a StreamYard or something like that, or doing video stuff. It's trying to do when I tried to put our RSS feed into it, it was like, no, we don't want that shit. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what? Google, fuck you. I'll promote, as long as I won't promote Google Podcasts as much as I will Good Pods. I'll promote Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, and Spotify before I'll promote anything Google related, except for our videos that we post up. So
I think what it is with Google, they're all the time revamping how their algorithm works. And like
they're always revamping that, and
to me it's like just let it go. Let whatever it's doing happen naturally. But we know Google. We know you'll never let that happen.
believe it or not, outside the United States, for the past couple of months, guess where the second highest country is in regards to listeners?
Hold on. It's in the back of my head here. Is it the place that deserves anarchy? Anarchy in the UK? It's coming someday, maybe.
No, surprisingly, that was number 3.
Oh, Florida, of all the countries out
No,
there,
I said
which would be
country.
Australia.
Australia was number 4.
Oh. Oh God.
Number 2 was South Africa.
Number 2. Okay.
Number 2 is South Africa. Second month in a row.
Woo. Who's number 1?
United States, USA.
Yeah. We're number 1 in prison systems and spending a war machine.
And listening to us ramble on about shit. So
yep, that's what we do. We find a topic,
we
beat it to death like a horse that's dead.
So who'd you go see concert wise last night?
We went to, because Wednesday 13 was playing. Granted, it's called Lilith's, but ever since the bands came on and didn't know how to enunciate the name, and it just kept getting called Little Tits the whole night. Because again, bunch of metal, horrorcore metal rockers. There was like Infected Rain, which was like this all chick metal band from Moldavia, and did they really delivered. I can't think of the other 3 named acts, but they were all pretty solid acts. Then Wednesday 13 came on, because they were performing music from when they were previously known as the Murder Dolls, and like it was good. They even came out for an encore. Because I'm like, the show can't be over. They haven't played I Love to Say Fuck, which is my favorite song. And yeah, it was wild. If you get a chance, listen to some of the old Murder Dolls stuff. They were prevalent from about 2004 till about 2013, and then they switched over to Wednesday 13. They had a couple other side projects where the lead singer remained the same, but it was like a totally different band name because their philosophy of it is hey, if something changes in the band lineup, it's not going to be the same band name, which honestly I think should be how it's done with all the other bands. I mean, I get it, brand recognition, but still, like you've listened to bands where the lineup's changed and they might have a different guitarist or a different person at the drums. It sounds different, you know? Maybe that's just me. You all right there, Chris?
Yeah, just that while you're telling folks about your little thing, I was looking up the standard Sasha on board, what I needed for Sasha on board, and I think I found I think I found the article for
I thought it was
today.
Lumser I'm bored because it's what I say.
Well, either way, let's see, is there some more? Oh yeah, this is a little bit more information. Uh, um,
Is it Florida again?
oh, of course.
Will we ever escape Florida?
No.
I mean, like, we can even throw Australia in with Florida because it is the Florida
I
of
don't.
countries.
I don't think we could. I don't think Australia could top this one.
I don't know. I mean, like, we're talking about Florida where these guys do stupid things every day, like blood surfing with great white sharks, and they do that for fun, and somehow they survive. Or you'll get the
well,
occasion, oh yeah, I got bit. I punched the shark and it went away. It's like everything wants to kill you in Australia, even the Aussies.
the article that it was there. It's like, oh, this one's perfect. Pretty much, we'll go into it when we're ready to get into it. Florida man arrested for pooping on dead possum on street during rush hour.
It's slowly morphing into the Florida man segment.
It's we waited how long? Like 3 weeks before this shit.
I'm surprised we don't have like 20 things from Florida. We have to take a vote as to which one.
It's like, well, Sasha's doing her talking about the concert she went to. Let me search if there's any, and that's the first thing that pops up. I'm like, found it.
We're good.
We're good.
I don't think we need much more of a story than the headline.
Right. But
yes,
how was your go ahead.
How was my
Your anniversary?
Oh yeah, it was
You have fun.
It was good. We did our usual thing. We went to Miss Ruth's because they show like a horror movie. Usually right around like the weekend right before Halloween. Trying to remember what it was. Oh no, we didn't do it, Miss Ruth's. We blew it off. We were like, you know what? We're gonna go over to G-Man and just have fun. And it took me a while to do Al's makeup. And we had dinner and we went over to G-Man and just had a blast. And then we did a couple things throughout the weekend. Like the Friday before, we had seen Evil Dead the musical, which thoroughly recommend. It takes elements of Evil Dead 1 and Evil Dead 2 and mixes them properly, but has in jokes for people who are familiar with the series, which makes it really fun to watch. What about Cheryl? We don't need Cheryl in this. We thought she was redundant. Because we have this character instead. What about Henrietta? Let me point you back to Cheryl.
The thing is, this was like a stage play.
Mm-hmm. And a musical.
That's the thing. that's the thing about it. Yeah, you're gonna they do it for the lols and everything else, and that's what makes stuff like that great and awesome. Um, but you're gonna have the legit theater geeks that show up because it's a theater production. And what's hated is that you have fans of the Evil Dead folks going. They know the jokes, they know the bits,
Well,
and
what
they're
was funny is there's the scene where Cheryl Ash's sister gets kicked out of the cabin and the trees are attacking her. And so they had like this weird like cross section. So it seemed like they were walking across the bridge or the woods throughout the audience. And we were setting like just before the splash zone. So we weren't near the splash zone, but the bridge and the walk paths were all around us. And so I'm sitting there while she's escaping the trees. And of course, I got my Necronomicon with me. I've got my reddish black wig on. And the actress that's playing Cheryl, she's like, "Wait, you have one of those? I thought it was the only copy." I'm like, "Well, actually, there's 3 volumes." She's like, "There's 3," and the guy playing Ash is like, "Ruby," and I lost it.
There's what I say. I said it before on the show. It's like I saw the Spamalot at the local Apollo Theater. Their take on it, and it was the theater geeks that were like, "Why are people talking so much during we know every goddamn joke. We know every line. In essence, every line. We know what's coming up before it's coming up. That's why we're here. That's the point about this. The fans are going to show up. The fans are going to recite the lines with everybody. It's a fun fan participation, and if you had a good
But
time at
what cracked
that,
me up though is when the guy who played Ash pointed me goes, "Ruby." I'm like, "Hey, we're getting ahead of ourselves. We still have 30 years before we get there."
and the thing is, it makes you have fun, and it's that aspect of having fun.
But
Overall,
yeah,
did you enjoy yourself when you went to it and did it?
oh yeah. Even now I had a blast, and we went to this place because it was up in Cumberland, Maryland. So it was at the Cumberland, Maryland Theater, which was kind of like bought out by the college, because they really didn't have a drama program. They had a lot of people that were interested in drama, so they kind of set up their own theater for it. And so that was kind of cool. But after the show, we went to this place called the Niner, which is like a little bar. It was in town. They had a DJ and music going. But what was cool was they had an all night arcade attached to it, which was called the Level 9. And it was like part of the bar, but they had somebody watching the door. So if somebody 18 and up wanted to go to the arcade at like midnight, they could. And so it was funny because Al's playing pinball, and I'm like, "You play pinball, I'm playing bar." But it was an interesting evening. It was a fun time, and that was kind of like what we kicked the weekend off on. And then that following Saturday, we were just kind of like, "We'll go do the costume contest at G-Man, and that's good enough."
As long as, like I said, as long as you all had fun and everything else, and
Yeah, it was a stacked bunch of events, and this weekend was kind of like a relaxing weekend aside from going to a show. I just thought it was funny because like Al wanted to drop like 100 or 200 bucks for like one of the hotels that were like right beside the venue, and I'm like, "Dude, there's this mom and pop motel just down the road, like less than 8 miles," and I'm like, "It's only $60 a night," and I'm like, "Yeah, is it gonna be fancy? No." I'm like, "But it's gonna have at least a shower and at least a bed with clean sheets." I'm like, "Do we
hopefully,
really need anything else?" You know what I mean?
that's
why
one of the
why
things I
spend
hate.
200 bucks on a room that you're only going to spend the night at?
That's what I hated about the Marriott at in DC. Yeah, was it like right next door to the venue, the convention center? Yes. Was it nice? Yes. Did it have a little bit of a mini fridge so I could put my insulin in it? Yes. But the thing is, it was 200, like 250 a night. At the time, I had that, everything to cover it. And what they in essence, I want to say they alluded to the fact it was more double speak and everything else. It was, well, when I got there, pulled out my debit card, and like, yeah, I'm paying for the room. I hear from, can I come in early? Yes, you can. Oh, your card's declined. Why is my card? I have the money for the room. What's the total? Oh, I was going Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night. Yes, it's $1,400 and change. No, the total price should be 12 with tax and all that, 1,200 and change. Where's this $200 coming from? Oh, it's a $50 a night, X, Y, and Z. That wasn't in the paperwork. That was not mentioned at all.
Yep.
Oh,
There's always hidden fees.
like, but it's there. I'm like, yo, they're like, well, it's this fee, X, Y, and Z fee. Yes, I saw. Did you see that? I said, yes. I also saw where it stated if there are 4 or more people in that room, I am the only person in that room. I'm the only person going to be in that room. Well, it's there just in case you have your car in our parking garage. Hold up.
I don't drive.
I don't drive. I took the train here. Oh, so they waived the $200 I was able to get in, but it's why every time I wanted to do internet, I had to go down to the lobby to use the free internet down there because they wanted $30 a night for internet. And I was like, yeah, it was that hotel doublespeak. Oh, if you have the hotel, it's free internet, but when you go to log in, it says $30 a night. Yeah, that's how they get you. It's you pay that $50 a night deposit, and it's whatever you don't spend, it's taken out, or that $30 a night. If you're there 4 nights, like I was, it's $120 if it's $30 a day. Yeah, they'll take that 120 and whatever the change is left over, that's what you get back. I ain't playing that game. I'll just go down to the fucking lobby and do that shit. You know?
And to me, it's like, why be so up close, to the venue? Because you're just going to run into problems, And hell, at least I got a few laughs. I mean, like, I went to plug in my hair dryer to dry out my hair while we were there. It tripped the circuit breaker in all the rooms. And I'm like, well, it's cheap hotel. What can I say?
It sounds like what my microwave used to do.
But I won't lie, the room had a microwave, it had TV, it had like a flat screen TV with an HDMI hookup. So if we wanted to plug the switch in or had something with us, we could have. Microwave, mini fridge, coffee pot. It had a very tiny shower. I'm tiny to begin with. I was surprised I was able to fit in it, and the shower head was wonky, but you know what? It did its job,
Yeah, but the thing is with the TV, were you able to, if you did plug in like something like a switch, were you able to use it? Because a lot of the TVs, like if you went, like when I went to the Marriott, yeah, you were able, it had the extra HDMI ports, but you were not able to switch to those ports.
Yeah, this actually had the actual RCA remote instead of like one of those like third-party remotes that has only certain options available on it. And so like I had my PSP with me and we were able to run a movie on the PSP. So because yes, you can hook a PSP up through HDMI. There's like a retro company that makes like the jack. As long as you've got like a 2000 or a 3000 model, you can plug it in and it plugs into like, because you know how you got that little like chip area and then you got the head jack area. You plug it in through there and then it converts it to HDMI and you can upscale it. And it's not bad. There's not even a lag to it or a delay. But no, it worked just fine. And it's like we're far enough away from the venue that we're not going to run into anybody that's going to be problematic from the venue. I mean, yes, I will admit, it looks like one of the bands did stay there, but they probably were like, screw staying at the expensive hotel, $60 a night. You can probably pay for every member of the band to have their own room,
Like,
as opposed
yeah,
to,
depending on the number. If there's 4 people in the band and you're paying, uh, them maybe on the low side, let's say $500. Yeah, each person can have their own room if they don't want to be buddy buddy. But
yeah. And to me, it's just like I'm going to a mom and pop business. Hilton, Marriott, all of that crap ain't getting my money. It's actually going to a small mom and pop because them roadside hotels still exist. You can even still you can get them on all the websites like Travelocity and Booking.com. You just got to dig. They're not the first results.
right.
And it was funny because when I went in, they're like, "Oh no, you're already paid. Just sign this card." Al was getting ready to put all the car information down. They're like, "We don't even need that shit. You're good. You paid. Just sign. Need ice? It's there. Need anything? Just call the number." Because they even called to check to make sure we were coming. And I'm like, "Hey, we haven't been up in this area before, and we wanted to stop by at this place on the way up." So I'm like, "I'm not sure exactly when we're showing up." They're like, "No. We just wanted to make sure you still needed the room because we it's like past 4 o'clock and we want to make sure that you're going to be here and you don't need us to refund it or anything." And I'm like, "No, I appreciate the call." And you're not going to get that from a Hilton or a Marriott or even a Days Inn. They're just going to take the money and run.
Yeah, and the thing is, it also, you're going to have a lot of great mom and pop hotels that are like that. But you're going to also have the ones that are, I mean, utterly scumtastic. I'll put it like that. I remember
Carson's Chambersburg.
uh, there was a place that when we came back from Florida, when me and my folks came back from Florida, we stopped at, we were in the Stroudsburg area, and we stopped at a hotel, and I told my folks, like, I remember us staying at this hotel. It was pretty nifty when we were there, again, mid 80s. So at this point, it was about 10 years later. And it went from maybe a nice mom and pop hotel to scumtastic.
Motel Hell.
It was it was one. There's one. Well, they pretty much screwed down the. It was in like late February, early March when we got there, and it was still, meaning it was still cold outside. Each thermostat in the room was like locked down, and it was not set at like 65 or 70 degrees. It was set at 45 degrees. It was 32 degrees in outside, if not less.
Right.
And we're like, can we? And the guy was just like put out that we asked for, to be a little bit warmer in the room. The place didn't even have cable. The only stations we got was like PBS, and that was iffy. Heck, we were like, well, if it wasn't so damn cold outside, we'd leave the dog in the car because we don't want the dog sleeping on the goddamn floor. Heck, we're sleeping with our shoes on. We don't want bare feet on the floor. It was that bad. It was like, what the fuck happened to this hotel? It was a decent hotel.
Yeah.
The other one that we spent a few nights in, there was so much in and out. It was either a den for illicit substances or hookers and prostitutes, because it was that bad. It was like, oh dear God. We had the only reason why we were there was because it was fucking cheap. We're like, dear God.
Insane. So, anyways, you want to fire this puppy off and get us officially started?
Gotta put on my hat.
Put on your hat.
Put on my hat.
Un chapeau. Your sombrero.
Honestly, the way it was fitting was like some odd patch, like
Yarr.
missing an eye, missing an eye.
You
Best
get a
line
chance,
in
you need to watch My Flag Means Our Flag Means Death. That is a great show.
if you haven't seen it, watch. It's on Netflix. I don't know if they had a season two, two or three. It's called The Dragon Prince. Oh
Mm,
dear God. The same people that did the last Airbender did this
okay.
show, so it has that same humor to it and same style. And one of the people that voices the prince also played, I think, Zuko, um, the guy that pretty much went boomerang him. So
Mm.
it pays a lot of references, and they have a character in that called. He's a pirate captain, but he's blind in both eyes and wears two eye patches. And the
Jesus.
guy is like, no, it's hysterical because he's talking to the prince. He's like, and giving him advice and all that. He's like, I bet, and at the end of it, he's like, I bet you're wondering how I became blind. And the prince is like, well, I was wondering it, but it seemed rude to ask. He said, well, let me tell you, I lost the sight in my right eye by a pair of mutinous seagulls. He goes, and the left? I don't know. They came from my right. I'm like, that's a good joke. It's funny. And he goes on, he goes on a little bit. It's like, listen, it doesn't, just because I'm a blind pirate with narcolepsy doesn't mean I know my shit. And all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, you're right. You understand? Wait a minute, you got narcolepsy? And the pirate's just right at the wheel, just snoring his brains out. Like, oh my God. That's they did it's wrong, but it's funny. It just the timing of it is so good. But it was a good show. I liked it.
No, that's good.
My
That's
D
good.
my D&D group recommended it, but yes, we're taking long on the show. It's been like 3 weeks since me and Sasha actually spoke on the podcast. So
I know we're
for all
catching
you out
up.
there, we're catching up. So fuck you.
It's all wonderful content for the I'm gonna pre-show.
Yeah, I'm going to pre-show,
You gotta pause it. I'm gonna
and we're
pre-show.
and we're not wearing protection. It's been a while since I donned the mask.
It's been a while
Did
since
you
I've
bring?
donned the mask. Sounds like some sort of horrible like Batman revamp. We're doing the Dark Knight right, finally.
No, what? It's a perfect line for some sort of weird slasher flick that did so well that it has a sequel that takes place like a couple of years later, and the guy just goes, "It's been a while since I put on the mask, but it's time to kill again." And puts on the mask. You gotta admit that would be a perfect line for it.
It's set everything up where there's a supposed first movie, but there's not a first movie. So you kind of have that lived in universe, and you can only learn about it from whatever bits of dialogue you get from other people and maybe a survivor. But nothing's fully revealed, so people spend the rest of their life looking to the original movie to this sequel, and it doesn't exist.
Equivalent of like a Thanksgiving 3.
Yeah, because two doesn't exist.
So 2 doesn't exist.
And Spaceball 3
I
and
didn't
Search for Spaceballs 2.
2.
But you're skipping the first movie. See, even Thanksgiving wasn't that bold.
Yeah, that's a good marketing trick. You put out whatever movie it is 2. Then if it does really well, you marketed the second movie as the pre-sequel.
Yes. But you still don't address anything from what was in the first movie.
Right. It's like Slasher Movie 2. Then when you actually have the sequel, it's Slasher Movie, the pre-sequel.
Yep. No, because then you'll get accused of pulling a George Lucas.
And you could just go like, no, we're not pulling George Lucas. We're maybe
No,
pulling a little bit of
we had the first 3 films wrote.
We're pulling a Borderlands. That's what we're doing. We're just filling a gap without actually filling a gap.
Besides, we were hoping you'll be annoyed by the first couple minutes of it. That way you don't watch anymore.
We didn't expect to get this far.
I still remember Lucas going, yes, I have 9 movies planned, and you're like, dude, you're so full of shit.
Yeah,
You can't even keep up with your continuity.
There are 9 movies planned, and the last movie is going to be R2, pretty much relaying the whole story to the people on Earth. Fuck you, George.
We still haven't gotten that. Chewbacca's actually Bigfoot. Somebody who's read the Dark Horse comic knows exactly what I'm referencing. There was an Indiana Jones Dark Horse comic where Indiana Jones accidentally finds the Millennium Falcon, and there's rumors of this hairy creature that hunts the area, and it's a crash-landed falcon, and Chewie is Bigfoot. And Indy never speaks of this incident again.
Yeah.
You good? Your head on straight?
Yeah, I'm good. Justin the girls, Justin the man.
No crap. They adjust now. I got them back into place.
And that's my favorite insult. It's like, yeah, you're just jealous. Mine are bigger than yours.
For now.
Hey, I do that at the bar.
Now my biggest joke was the other day hanging out with Al, and I came outside and I was like jumping around for joy. He's like, "What are you so excited about?" I'm like, "They're not cross-eyed anymore." I'm like, "They used to look this way. Now they're dead on." And I was like, it took me a second to realize what you were talking about.
Did he do one of these numbers?
What's that?
Did he do one of these numbers?
Yeah, pretty much. Ah. Yep, they were going to be called the Chameleon Twins for the longest time.
All right.
No longer.
Ready whenever you are.
But anyways, whenever you're ready.
Sasha's getting her beer.
Beer. I mean, can we really call this that? Yeah. All right. You ready? Lion face, lemon face? All right.
Lemon face.
Lion face.
Lemon face. Lion face. And the people
you only get this in the pre-show.
are thinking I'm actually the joke is lost for those listening to audio. Lemon face. Lion face.
Okay. Lumser, I'm bored. What plaything do you have for me today?
Well, it's been a while, dear Sasha.
It's been a long while.
Yeah,
should have left you without a dope beat to step to.
Yep. But we do have something out of the SK system, ma'am. One served up on the silver platter today.
Oh my.
Unfortunately, it's from our usual fun place known as Florida. And the article that jumped out at us and that was served up on the silver platter the headline is, I should say, Florida man arrested for pooping on a dead possum on street during rush hour.
I have so many questions. Like, what was the charges? Impeding traffic? Causing a blockage while we're leaving one?
This happened in Clearwater, Florida.
Of course.
It just said so. Florida man was found himself behind bars. He was seen by this wasn't like, hey, we saw a dude taking a crap on a possum. No, the cops actually saw this dude doing this in the middle of the street, according to an arrest affidavit from the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Not going to say the gentleman's name or the guy's name, was arrested and charged with exposing his sexual organs after the alleged incident that unfolded on Wednesday. This was actually a few days ago. This was as of November 17th. So
Oh, wow.
I'd say this is fresh. After the alleged incident that unfolded Wednesday near the intersection of, road and trail in Clearwater. And it goes on and says it happened around about 5:20 p.m. Eastern Standard. The 45-year-old man was seen by Clearwater police after defecating on a dead possum with his pants down and his backside exposed, according to the report. The gentleman has no known residence, was already in quote unquote full view of the motoring public during busy traffic hours, the police said. In a post-arrest interview with police, the gentleman denied the allegations and said the officer didn't see straight. That, the report said. Police, however, found physical evidence at the scene corroborating the allegations, the report said.
Can you imagine who had the little baggies for that? Man, the poor rookie.
And as of, since there's no real updates, the gentleman still remains in jail.
He'll probably either get mental health treatment or be released back into the wilds yet again.
Or rehab, one of the two.
I don't think they have a place for him in jail. You know?
It's the whole aspect of not just pooping. Yeah, that's charged, but you purposely sought out a dead possum in the middle of the damn road.
I'm
You're not in your right mind.
I'm like, what did the possum do to him? Like that's some vitriol.
Like, wait, if you're homeless, you don't poop on the possum. At least you scrape it off the road, take it to someplace, and put it over a fire for a little while. That way you're cooking some of it. But since you don't know how long the roadkill was there.
I'm just like, what did that possum do to you? Like that just comes out of pure spite, Not only I'm gonna hold up traffic that shit on this possum, I'm gonna shit on a dead possum.
That dead possum pissed me off so bad, I'm going to take a shit on it.
We need to find the exact quotes from the police report. Fuck that possum.
Fuck that possum. And it says, like, more, as part of the article, it's like, more Florida man. One that, depending, we don't really mention, but the third one is the second oddest one that I don't know if we should say it now or say it for next week, but the title of the article is Florida man busted with 5 alligators in his bathtub that he caught at a nearby pond.
I'm assuming they're not full size.
I don't know. Let me pull it up and see.
They're probably baby alligators because that's something that happens a lot. Used to happen a lot in Louisiana.
Yeah, they were babies. They were little ones.
No, it would surprise me if somebody tried to wrangle medium-sized alligators into their house and then ran into a problem and had to call animal control. Why do you have these alligators in your house? Well, I felt they needed a home. I were out there in that water. It was murky. Figured they needed something clean and something decent to eat. And now all they do is bite at me.
And the thing is, I look up from my tablet to see what's next, and all I see is you doing this.
Where? With what?
With your beer bottle. It just looks like you're just stroking something. Sasha's doing weird shit on OnlyFans again.
Always.
Always.
Subscribe for more.
Helps the channel.
Tip for even worse. Oh, boom doom ching. Anyways, this is that delightful part where we insert our intro. Shove that thing in there.
Dramatic pause and all that fun jazz. Well, we're back, and I should say this. That's Sasha, the Princess of Darkness, herself, in full glory, and I am the Reverend Godfather, aka the Martinsburg Madman. Welcome to our show. Sasha, folks on Sasha's OnlyFans see it prior to everybody else. All of you out there on audio platforms get to listen to us, and eventually you'll see this on our side. Eventually, sometime down the road. Don't forget to support us by subscribing to Sasha's.
Future Sasha's sitting there going,
No. So subscribe to Sasha's OnlyFans, if not her YouTube channel. If you're listening to this episode, links are in the description down below. If you're listening to us on other platforms, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a depending on the platform, leave a review. Please make it good. If it's on Apple Podcasts, I don't care what your review is. It helps the algorithms. So
make sure you click on the ads, because we're not monetized, so they can't take our AdSense away if we don't have any.
Right. Tip Sasha, if you're watching on OnlyFans, tip Sasha's channel, because that supports the show. And on our end, I'll deal with that on the after show with the updates and all that in regards to how you can support us. But
like, comment, subscribe, obey, and snort Dubby.
Snort Dubby. Our favorite ones to snort is the Callio Cream. And I got to get a new. I'm down to the last scoop or two.
What kind of cream? I gotta get. Sorry, come again.
Appropriate terminology for OnlyFans. It's Callio Cream.
Tally-ho?
Cali, as in California.
Cali-ho.
Cali-O-cream.
Okay. Cali-O cream.
Yeah.
I was like,
it's actually pretty good.
I was like, Cali-ho cream? Man, that's gotta be a pricey tub.
And depending on who you talk to, Callie was a hoe. Long story. I might have to fill you in on that for a little while. It's somebody else's lolcow. But either way.
Oh, so since you brought up the subject of lolcows, Chris Chan's back again.
Chris Chan. It's not just, with what's going on right now in the world of lolcows, it's Chris Chan is back
on YouTube.
On YouTube, making content,
playing games.
I want to say right now, with what's happening, she has been slipping under the radar a lot. So,
well, see, this is the thing, and she's making money because she's doing what everybody wanted her to do from the beginning, was live streams and let's play, and live streaming that. And people are paying her copious amounts of money, to do that. And she's done a few oddball videos. She's still under the belief that she is our Lord and Savior. I don't judge. But Yes, she's out there. She's back. She's making content. She has a girlfriend, which mind blown. We're still not sure if it's a troll or not, or if it's whoever's helping her market her channels and her live streams. Nobody has a clue because granted, they're still not professional, but she's doing things she's never done before, like monetizing her content, getting tip jars, doing all kinds of stuff that you've never seen her do before.
If that person's actually helping them in that way in regards to making sure that things are done right and handling right, it's what she probably needed in the first place.
But she still has all of those crazy backwards release or beliefs, and she is, I don't know how, I don't know why, she's still able to go down to Virginia and visit Barb at her old home. Now, granted, nobody knows if it's supervised visits or not, but the Sonichu license plate that she has been seen repeatedly at that house.
But still, if there's somebody there to kind of help reel her in or maintain things, that's a lot compared to what happened prior.
Because I know a lot of people like to bring up, well, technically, all the charges were dropped. I'm like, I said, I'm not here to say that she did something. I'm not here to say that she didn't. But you can have charges dropped and still be guilty as fuck.
Right.
And it just worries me about Barb getting self-harmed. Because during her jail saga, there was a ton of problematic letters that got released where she seemed like she just wanted Barb dead. And it's like, I hope everything's supervised and on the up and up. Again,
right.
No diss towards her. Keep doing what you're doing. You don't have to explain anything to anyone. That's between you and the justice system and yourself and whatever fuzzy belief in a creator that you have. But since you believe yourself as a creator, I don't know how that works. We have a logical conundrum there. But yeah, that's something that she has to go to bed with every night, and hopefully it's not her mother.
Like I said, it came up. I saw it come up. I know you talked about it before, prior to everything going down on both our ends. But what seemingly especially, yeah, there should be more people covering it and all that. But especially what's been going on in the lolcow, the world of lolcows. There has been something that's been kind of overshadowing Chris Chan's return a little bit, at least in coming through my feed, and that is the whole aspect of Boggie2988.
Yes,
I've seen with his documentary that came out, I'd say about a week or so ago. With his, in essence, he's been his channel has been declining for years now, and he's one of those types of people that self-sabotages himself every single fucking chance he gets.
Yep.
And especially what happened over the past week, or I should say past 3 days as of this recording, because what happened was he went on another YouTube content creators live stream. He just hopped on. He just wanted to hop on, say hi, and leave, and just if anything, promote the podcast that Boogie's on. Pretty much him being on, saying, "Hey, I have this podcast. Hey, I heard you guys mention something about me. I'm doing this podcast," and just leave. And what happened was another YouTuber hopped on. he pretty much messaged the person that was doing the live stream, and that person sent the Zoom link, and that person hopped on because he said, messaged the chat saying, I need to say something. And both people, both Boogie and that other YouTuber, were going back and forth on this live stream. Then, because they were going back and forth, in essence, yelling at each other, or I'm not sure exactly what was said, the person that started the podcast that Boogie was on, the infamous troll himself, the one that doesn't just look like a troll, looks like a gnome in regards to it, and who's had issues in upon himself, Keemstar, pretty much left messages chewing out Boogie, saying, you know, how dare you? You should have saved this for the podcast. How dare you go on this other stream and do this, and yada yada yada. You're gone. You're this. You're that. And pretty much he says, if you want to be back on, I need you to send a video to me, calling around, saying, apologizing to me, apologizing to your co-hosts, each name one each by name. That footage got leaked out, and I mean, it's just like, Boogie's like, well, it happens. It's like, and everybody's, I wouldn't say dogpiling on Boogie, but it's like, Boogie, you realize what the fuck you're doing, man? And it's like, when Keemstar could tell you to go kill yourself, you're like, oh, okay. But yet this YouTuber tells you, you got to stop doing this and stop, you know, wake up, grow a spine. You're like, cease fire, you know, stop bugging me. You know, I mean, it's a shit show, and people are tuning in. Literally, it's sad.
It is. And to kind of go back on something that you'd said, I mean, like when it came to the whole like Chris Chan situation, like number one, you have to understand with Chris Chan, like he was doing let's plays and live streams like before they were even a thing. And unfortunately, you know, she is one of the most well reported people on the internet at the moment. And so with, and again, I'm not trying to say anything happened or didn't happen. The likelihood is extremely possible, but based on the nature of the incident and how much history this person has online and how much people talk about it, of course the news was going to cover it, you know, because you had that arrest with everything added on top of it. And so of course the news is going to take that story and run with it. Whereas something like Boogie and the rest, yes, they're touching on it, but outside of your people who cover lolcows on YouTube and other channels, I hate to say it, lolcows are a dime a dozen. Like the most recent crops are coming from TikTok, because there are people who go on TikTok and just rage about everything. And yeah, it's bad. So I can see why like Chris Chan got the coverage that she did. But I can also see why other YouTubers and streamers and what have you don't, because suffice it to say, it's just such a flooded market of problematic people on the internet.
And that's one of the things that you see now with the aspect of TikTok being so popular. It's one of the things that you're seeing now. It's like some of the circles that I watch and channels I watch, they might part of some of the YouTubers watch, they stopped doing it, or they went from, and some of the channels I watch used to cover, you know, debunk like a lot of the flat earth videos and all that. One channel stopped doing it because the YouTube algorithm was like, well, it's considered even though you're debunking, it's considered conspiracy theory, and we're not going to cover that anymore. So he had to change his lineup from covering conspiracy theory to covering Karens, in order to still make that revenue, stay relevant. It's not that I'm blaming him for that, but the other YouTuber I watch, even I think he's a little bit wrong in it, not in the way he thinks. it's in regards to that. He says, well, we here on YouTube are kind of winning the war in regards to the flat earthers because the videos are not there, I guess, not there or coming up that much. The thing is, they went because they get hammered off of YouTube by the debunkers and all that. They're going to fucking TikTok because more of a reach.
Yep.
So it's sad. It's sad that it's happening. It's sad that it's there, and it's weird. But
it is. It's very weird. And it's definitely interesting. It's weird to see that she's back, and oddly enough, she's doing well. You know, she's posting back on social media regularly on YouTube. Like Chris Chan is out there back in the wild, and they're profitable. Their store is selling oodles of merch. Like she recently sold like this hideous totem pole for like 15 grand. Yeah. Now, if you want, you just look it up. It's the creepiest thing in the world.
did somebody buy it?
Mm-hmm. Paid cash for it.
Well,
But again,
hey, if they are making money, then God, whatever deity that you want to partake in, bless them. But
even if the deity is yourself. It is what it is. But yes, I figured I'd give a little update on Chris Chan. Where do we want to go now? Since we're talking about drama, do we want to touch on the don't eat the gum situation?
uh, uh, let's swing a little bit one side, then we can come back to don't eat the gum, because
Okay.
that's going to be a large chunk. And let me just hop in here for real quick. I want to thank the folks because we didn't really, at least on my end, I didn't really bring it up on audio side or anything like that. I want to audibly thank the folks at Ravenwood Faire or Ravenwood Faire in Clearbrook, Virginia, because we were there this past October 28th and 29th. They pretty much contacted us, at least on my end, to have a booth at the Ren Fair at least one of the weekends in October, and promote our show, promote what we're doing and all that.
Right.
We didn't have to pay for the table. We just had to set up and just do our thing and promote. Overall, I do thank them for that. It got a ride down there, but if it wasn't, I want to say it like this: this is the rating I'm going to give is not based on those behind the scenes. It's based on their experience. So if you folks of Patty and the folks behind Ravenwood, this is not on you guys. You guys have probably put on a wonderful event. This is our first time there. I'm giving maybe the whole experience maybe a 6.5 out of 10. Mainly because we only got a chance to be there one out of the 2 days. Because the second day, it was one of those instances, no matter which weekend we chose, we would have been fucked. Because the first weekend that they were set up, it rained that Saturday, but didn't rain on Sunday. And the weekend that we were there, it didn't rain on Saturday, but rained on Sunday. And because everything looked like it was going to be on again, off again, rain all day, it was the instance of it's not worth setting up, being here, trying to promote, trying to get extra content, because it's going to probably rain all day. So got a ride down there, picked up the table, picked up the stuff that we left there, and just headed back. And
well, I'm going to let you talk on this for a little bit. I'm going to hit the train. I'll be right back.
All right. For the most part, what we wanted to do was, yes, we have a brief walkthrough in regards to it on our YouTube channel. I might link to that down below in the description, but I really wanted to, at least on the second day, explore a lot of the demonstrations, see a lot of the stuff that Ravenwood put on, and does put on a yearly basis, because I briefly saw like a glass blowing in demonstration. They have the whole Ravenwood Faire court aspect of in regards to entertainment. I'm sure they have like a blacksmith there doing stuff. They have archery, they have bands, they have skits going on. I didn't get a chance to see all that there, therefore, because I didn't get a chance to see that and experience that, the low score. So it's on my end, but from what I saw, it looks very wonderful. I do appreciate it. If we are invited back next year and are able to do both days and get a ride down there, then yeah, we will do it again, and we will have a good time. Again, please don't think the 6.5. We do recommend them. The other reason for the low score is that they have the event in a fairground, whereas for those of you who go to a lot of these Ren fairs, it's in a wooded area like a park or something along those lines. And that, I think, hurts the mystique of a lot of the fair. Yes, you could say a Ren fair could happen in a field. I could accept that. It's just that in regards to this, and it not being in a wooded area kind of lowers the mystique. But then again, I don't go to Ren fairs that much. The last Ren fair I went to was, I want to say, close to 20 years ago. So don't quote me on that. What are you guys and gals out there? Have you all have been at a Ren fair? I'll just, if you have, what are your expectations if you go to a new Ren fair, whether it be locally or someplace else? What are your expectations are of a Ren fair? What do you expect to see? What do you expect, like vendor wise? What do you expect to see demonstrations or what have you? What do you expect to see there? I know there's a lot of TikToks out there in regards to some uh, entertainers that are for this, but I want to know. I want to hear from all of you in regards to this. But that's just me. And since Sasha's not back yet, we're going to. Oh, speak of the devil, and she returns.
Yep, I
So,
always do. I am back.
back again. So
Sasha's back.
Back again. That means a new clip I gotta download and splice in. So
Oh, so where do
yeah.
we want to hop, skip, and jump to at this point?
So you want to go swing back to over the drama?
Oh yeah, well, I think we should start with "Don't Chew the Gum" because that kind of brings everything that goes on, like in conventions, like and in the horror genre to begin with, and that'll bring us into the whole Craig Blake thing. So, anyways, recently, and I'm doing this off the cuff of my head. I'm trying to remember what show it was, but I think it was Horror Hound. Where what was it, Wicked Wix or whatever they were? I think it was their name.
I think that, yeah, Wicked Wix.
They're a vendor that does candles, and another vendor set up behind them. It was the Horror Hound show that it happened at. Horror Hounds, or was it Rue Morgue?
It was.
I just Rue Morgue.
I'm bringing it up. Let's see here. It was at Horror Hound.
Okay, Horror Hound.
They says started in sightseeing.
I'm gonna say it was Wicked Wix.
Yeah, I want to say it, but I'm looking through the comment. Yeah, it was Wacky Wix.
Wacky Wix.
Yeah.
And they make like candles that are themed toward movies and TV shows and whatnot, you know. And they had a booth, and they had somebody that was kind of like their neighbor, but was like their backdoor neighbor. Not like that.
Neighbor, yeah.
Excited. But there was a whole issue with their backdoor neighbor's stand falling down. And initially, the people from Wacky Wix thought they were responsible, but in reality they weren't, because they didn't have some sort of supporting structure, because they had one of those accordion setups where everything's got to be locked just right. You've got to have the right feet and everything set down. But their display kept collapsing, people that was behind them, and they kept giving Wacky Wix a hard time about it. And like, I guess the dude's spouse was just being a royal bitch about it.
Just being real Karen about it. And from the post, like even glancing over it, what came to mind popped up is that the folks that were running that booth, not Wacky Wix, but the booth that had the stand that kept falling over, is that they kept putting a lot of heavy stuff on top
and didn't have the support structure.
That a lot of times, if you put a lot of heavy stuff on stuff that's not really supported right, it can fall. It's not balanced right. You have to put it closer, the heavy stuff closer to the bottom.
Yep. But it just became a whole big incident. And, you know, granted, Horror Hound got involved. They brought security. Security kind of saw that they didn't have anything to do with it, but, you know, the people were still throwing tantrums and being dicks to Wacky Wix. I mean, could Horror Hound have done more? Yes, they could have done a hell of a lot more, you know, especially when they came to the decision that Wacky Wix was not the cause of the problems of this other vendor. They could have moved, changed spaces, done something, you know, to stop the drama. Well, the drama continued afterwards, because this vendor was going to be set up at another horror con. I want to say it was it Scarecrows or something else?
I think it was. It had to be that. It just let's see here. Scarefest weekend.
Yes. And so I guess because that one vendor had so much pull with Scarefest weekend, the one that was throwing the crap fit, even though it was primarily all their fault, they got Wacky Wix pretty much kicked out. And for them, that's a loss of income. That was time off the person had to take, and it was just
and they said,
ugly.
That was and they geared everything that they were ready for that Scarefest weekend. That like a lot of vendors tend to do is let's say, oh, these are the guests that's going to be there. Meaning, let's say Keith David's going to be there, and Tony Todd's going to be there. They're going to probably load up on a lot of stuff that Keith David and Tony Todd. So people, if they're going towards those actors, they have stuff to sell and have signed, and because of that, they can't sell that. They could, but it's just going to be tougher for them to sell all that extra stuff. Not to mention, as you said, it's a loss of income. It's a loss of all. I don't know if the stuff was refunded or not, but it's still a loss of income, because a lot of these vendors, they pretty much sell to make up losses and to go to the next show. Their profit margins are, some of them can make large profits, but a lot of them, the profit margins is only a couple of maybe $100 or $200.
All right, most of them barely break even, but it's more about the revenue that they get later on.
Right. They're making just enough so they can go to the next event or whatever that might be. Hopefully. And that's said. And the thing is, with this sort of when you brought it up and when it came across my stream, because it came off my stream, you told me about it. It had at that time, not only did we see this with a certain festival that involves a
gelatinous mass,
a gelatinous mass, or that looks like marmalade jelly, or same thing, but orange marmalade. But during that time as well that this was coming out, we had drama hit with a certain YouTuber that's still continuing today in a way, That YouTuber is called SSSniperwolf.
Hyperwolf.
And pretty much what she's been doing was taking TikTok videos and pretty much TikTok videos, YouTube
Just reacting.
videos, and not even reacting to it. Just pretty much like if this is a bag of chips, just pretty much eating, eating, eating. Oh, I gotta walk the dog. Get up, walk the dog. Get up, go to the bathroom or whatever. Not reacting, just standing there and just
Yeah.
sitting there and just doing it. So she got another YouTuber found out about this, criticized her about it. The other YouTuber was Jacksfilms, and he's like, she's not giving credit to these folks. She's stealing content. She's not even reacting to it. So, in pure YouTube fashion,
He
he's like,
reacts
you
to
know
her.
what? He reacts to her and parodies her content. And he doesn't, which is by all standards allowed to do under copyright.
But she disputes
And
it.
and she's like, no, he's stealing my content. He's like, no, he's parodying you. And everybody was on Jack's side in regards to this. The whole YouTube community was on his side, and he was getting permission from the people that she was in essence reacting to.
Yeah, he was crediting them.
Yeah, he was crediting them, and he was getting permission, the whole 9 yards. And she decided to hold a temper tantrum because she was doing a shoot or filming something that was nearby. She decided to go to his house, start a Instagram live stream, and dox him, which by community standards is pretty much like if you, me, anybody else did it, you're banned. No, you're not allowed to have an account on YouTube no more. You can't show your face. Your face is not allowed on this platform
It's kind of
anymore.
like guessing winners at a certain contest and then getting
Right.
shadow banned.
And it's not just shadow banned. You're instantly kicked off. It's get your shit, go to another platform. But because and it happened to somebody else, literally, with the reaction videos and all that, and not really reacting. Someone that was barely getting 1,000 views a month. They had 1,000 subscribers, and they were barely getting maybe 250 to 500 a month a video. But because they were barely reacting, YouTube went, you can't have a channel no more. That's stealing content. Yet when Sniper Wolf does it, because she's getting millions upon millions of views a month, it's okay, you're fine. It's okay. And she decided to whine, bitch, and complain that, oh, you're letting Jack's film do it because he's a guy. That's irrelevant because you're kicking off. If that's your argument, that's bullcrap, because what about all the people that YouTube kicked off that has less subscribers than you, that are, let's say, people of color or not bring enough views to go see to the platform for bringing advertising? Meaning, if you, Sasha, were getting millions of views a month and had several million subscribers, it would be, hey, Sasha's doing good, we're going to look the other way. Yet if I did it and I'm critiquing your points and I have the subscriber count and the view counts that I have now, and I'd be kicked off the platform because I'm critiquing YouTube's, star princess of darkness. So
But
that's
this is the thing that I think is different though. Like YouTube is already full of drama, as creators. We can both agree on that.
yeah.
But it seems like the moral majority of drama when it comes to like convention-based drama is always in the horror field. Like, and I just don't get it. Like for a factor that you already know, like I have called out a ton of racist and bigots and problematic people in the horror community. with actual evidence to back me up. And some of the stuff is pretty much black and white, with what they're saying and what they're doing. Yet there are people who look the other way because, oh, well, this person's in my next big project, Key 13 Films. And we don't want to cause any drama because we need this person because they're a key role not only in this film but in the sequel. And it's like, seriously. But the thing of it is at the end of the day, there's just so many problematic people in the horror community. It's sad, like the Craig Blake incident that I brought up with you, because me being in the horror community and me being one who brings to light a lot of this problematic stuff, somebody came to me and was like, yo, have you seen the transphobic shit that Craig Blake, and he does like a special effects artist and artist within the horror community. And yeah, the dude is dropping transphobia like it was acid. And the sad part of it is I have approached a number of conventions and vendors and people that are working with this guy. Nobody gives a fuck because the horror community is just rife of some backwards, hateful people. And don't get me wrong, I love the genre, but I think a lot of people forget that even in the genre, the point of the genre is no matter who you are, what you look like, whatever, we all bleed red. So
Right.
don't be a
I'm gonna
hateful
let you
bigot
continue,
in a community.
Sasha. I'm gonna let you continue your hashtag rant. I'll be able to hear you, but I'm going to hit up my restroom while you do it. So let me just mute my mic and
He's gonna go drain the dragon. But anyways, yes, like in the horror community, it's sad. And not to bring to light a certain festival around a gelatinous mass, they're a horror festival, which is a movie that they basically have a festival around that is an unrated film. And people like me are considered too controversial and too adult for such a festival. And I just think that's interesting. But yeah, like the horror community is just rife with problems, and there's questionable content. People don't want to look at it with a deeper eye. Like the moment you bring up that, hey, Rocky Horror Picture Show supports rape culture as well as like massive amounts of transphobia, people lose their mind. Heaven forbid you say the same thing about Silence of the Lambs, Dressed to Kill, Ace Ventura, even though it's not a horror movie. People get defensive about it because nostalgia, and they can't put their nostalgia goggles aside to look at the problem for what it is. And then you can come across certain creators who interact with other creators that are problematic, and they're just looking at the quality of the work, and they want people to separate the art from the artist. And at the end of the day, if it's profiting that artist and adding to their platform of hate, you can't separate it. It's like the people who say, a certain place's food is just a chicken sandwich. Well, consider what it funds. And the Salvation Army is just a charitable group. Well, consider all the LGBTQ people that they've left freeze out on their shelters. Again, people don't want to look at it because they have a nostalgia goggle effect on it. And it's such a problem. Again, going back to the whole Craig Blake thing, there are things that are in black and white that this guy has been saying online, but because businesses bought t-shirts that have his artwork on it, or they've commissioned him to do things or things of that nature, they're already invested and they don't want to look the other way. And not to say there aren't problems in other conventions, but the more niche you get, the more problematic it becomes. And you kind of become the enemy for pointing out the problem, as opposed to the person who's causing the problem. And it's just utter madness. It happens at comic conventions. I've seen it, firsthand. Even some of the people I know that run tables and booths, there are certain people that come up and harass them and give them a certain, hard time, or pretend to be a customer or patron, but just be complete asshats about them afterwards. And it's just, it just feels like so many high school cliques. And it's like, if somebody's being a problem on a social scale, it needs addressed. And if, for example, something happens at a particular convention, it shouldn't have a bearing on the other convention. And especially if somebody's going to go and tattle to the other convention that, this person's a problem, I spend a lot of money here, I don't want them there, and then you get that person banned, that's not only favoritism, but it's also a lot of other problems involved with it. Because now you're taking sides and you're shortchanging this merchant that just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Right.
And it's
Like
pathetic.
even you said, yeah, we saw that what 4 or 5 months ago with a certain gelatinous uh thing where even I was calling out what they did to you, and we had certain people jump on my platform, your platform, and when I said what, I was repeating
Where's the
several
evidence?
times, what's the evidence that she was doing Sasha was doing this? Oh, she was. But whatever, what evidence? Well, here's a screen recording. It has to be, it doesn't matter. Screenshot, screen recording, it doesn't matter. It has to be, or else it's fake. You can fake a screen recording too. There's a reason why folks use screenshots as well, and in a lot of aspects. But all in all, this is not the first time you've been part of drama. I've been part of drama.
And the
Heck,
sad part of it is a
worked
lot of times we're the people who's reporting on a problem, and then suddenly
right.
we're the problem for reporting on the problem. And it's like, wait,
I feel like
because
there's
at the end of the day, you and I, even though we're jokingly referred to as conspiracy theorists, we're like people who look at stuff going, this shit's adding up this way. I'm getting 2 + 2 = 4, and you're getting 22. I think your math is fucked, homie.
yeah. And like there's that certain gentleman back in, I think it was 2021, that he was a publicist for certain people and all this, that, and other thing. And he was having drama with folks on Mick Manhattan's show. And if I remember correctly at the time, and he was like, this guy was like, well, I'm surprised you were on Mick's show with this person. He's an ist. He was on, a show saying inappropriate terminology. And I said, well, is that so? He's like, yeah, that's what happened. I'm like, what's the name of the show? What's the timestamp? Because if he said this on a show, I want to be able to go to that show, that episode, either watch it or hear it, and therefore I could hear him actually say it, and I can address it with Mick and everything else in this gentleman. Oh, it was what we in the biz called a conference call. That's not a show.
No.
What your terminology in that your biz is different than terminology in my biz. You have no evidence. It's just your word against his. You have no screen grabs. You have no recording of it. There is no audio evidence in regards to this. Convince me that he actually said this. Oh, that's I have no way of doing that, but that's what he said. What's she saying? Well, no. That's not the issue. If he said it, I want to hear him. He's saying X, you're saying Y. There's no proof saying it. And from what I'm concerned is that you could be coaching her to say that he said this shit because,
Exactly.
And he's like, well, if you don't, reject this and reject him, you're not going to be able to get all these, these celebrities on your show to interview this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, you're not doing that now.
Exactly.
It's like, you're not doing that now. And there are people that you instruct me to put in contact with that are, after I get in contact with them, they're turning around and telling me that they're dropping you. So why should I stick with you?
Exactly.
And
it's ridiculous. But the thing I find is, as terrible as it sounds, this happens, and I'm not saying that it happened at other conventions and with other genres, but for some odd reason, you get some of the most hateful, ignorant, assholish people in the horror community, and I just don't get it. I just don't. It was like,
Right. Good number. While Sasha was doing that, I was checking because I am a type 2 diabetic. I was checking my numbers and I got a good number. So
good.
it's that. And after everything is me and Sasha have a lot to talk about. And don't worry, I'll be able to last until whenever it's over. I'll have the munchies then and all that. So what else can we talk about? Let me
You
look
got
at
the
my notes. See what we
list.
got. We got the
The
list.
laundry list.
We got the laundry list. Somebody's got to keep a list around here. We talked about. Let's bring this up. It's reloading.
My plan B is my
Reload.
plan A, okay? And my plan B is just wing it.
Let's see. We talked about the Ren Fair. We talked about the Don't Eat the Gum and the Craig Blake shit. Okay, we can swing back to my side of things, and if you don't mind, before we talk about the communal stuff that we both probably seen and all that. One of which is the Ki Hoi Kwan. I won't say incident, but the gentleman known as K. I'm probably butchering his name. Please forgive me in regards to that, folks at home. But
Short round data.
I don't mean this man any disrespect in the latest. Some of you might know him from the movie Everything Everywhere at Once, which I have yet to see, and I will.
It's on my Vudu.
It's on Sasha's Vudu, and my show's account on Xbox is connected to her account, which I have to watch. But I will say, this gentleman, bless his heart, stole every goddamn scene he was in Loki season 2. He stole every goddamn scene, and he was one of the best characters that he pulled it off. He pulled off his character. Say what you want about the Marvel Universe. Say what you want about Loki season 2. He pulled it off. He pulled off his character. He plays like a Data-esque character in a way. And the way how everything is set up in the show, he has this forgetful quality, like, wait a minute, I did? Yeah, you did. Here's the plan. Oh, that's awesome. And he's so humbled in the show, but it's perfect for him. I'd say if you have Disney Plus, check it out just to watch him do what he does best, being a humble actor. Though I will say this, if you have to see Uncle Tony to see season 2, see it. I will not be renewing my Disney Plus account at the end of this month, because I ain't paying $160 for a year of Disney Plus. I don't give a rat's ass. Not that much.
I'm gonna throw a interesting curb into that, because you know how they also own Hulu?
Yeah.
Hulu and Disney Plus are combining here soon. So if you have one or the other, you automatically have the other.
So I know they were pushing that shit earlier this year because for the longest time I was letting them use my Netflix. They had their own profile and all that fun jazz, and to kind of recuperate or to help, tit for tat, call it what you want. They're like, hey, we got Hulu. Do you want, here's my Hulu login. And after maybe about 2 months, 3 months, the password didn't work. And when I tried to log in, oh, you need one particular password between X and Y. And it's just, now that Disney is taking up the same stance as Netflix, is that, hey, if you're sharing your password, that's a big no-no.
Bad.
It's like, you're a bad man,
since I'm barely watching Disney as it is, you could go like Netflix, go fuck yourself too. So
Sit and spin.
I'm going to sit and spin. So,
or as I like to say, see you next Tuesday.
sit on spin on a very large prickly water bottle that doesn't have our sticker on it. So
nor does it have W's, because W
nor it has W's.
Snorting is fine.
But that the other thing I want to talk about, we could use it as a lead into the main topic that we both kind of, and we'll save the other thing for maybe the tail end of everything, is that because I know you said it the last time we were talking in regards to recording a podcast, and that is underrated movies, so to speak. And let me say, I figured this, I didn't know when you want to start that bit and all that, but this kind of feels like it comes in under that, and it kind of fills in what we kind of both our shows core values, and we're sharing independent cinema. And granted, a lot of the independent cinema that is out there is mostly horror related. This is horror related. Right. Let me put it like this. The movie is called The Jester. Please do not confuse it. I'll put it like this. Do not confuse it with John Johnson's The Jester. Because many years ago, you could hear it on the rehash that reissue that we put out a few weeks ago, where we talked with John Johnson about his film, The Jester. His is his own take on it. This is something different. This is a different person's take on it, where John Johnson's was maybe closer to, I want to say 2010. This movie is closer to 2023. It came out, I think, this year. It stars a gentleman, one of the actors in this film is someone both me and Sasha know. That is Jesse L. Green, who is a very wonderful guy. He is a character in and upon himself. I think I shared an interview of him back during our anniversary month. So please go back in our audio back catalog and see for that, search for that episode and give it a listen. And if you're listening to on Spotify and or Good Pods, please rate it, review it, and share it. So let me say this. Did I enjoy The Jester? Or this version of The Jester? Yes, I did. It had a very Terrifier feel to it. That's the best way I can describe it. It had that feel. No relation to the Terrifier, but it had that feel. Where this was an evil, where Terrifier, it was just a guy in a clown makeup doing slasher things. This was an evil entity, paranormal entity that was, in a way, doing good yet doing evil. Meaning, if you
do both.
There was no real backstory of what the Jester was doing, but you could kind of figure out that if you didn't resolve issues that caused this entity to appear to you, it would kill you. But if not to mention, it seemed to have its own sense of moral code. Think the best way I could describe it is kind of like a John Wick moral code, meaning if you don't fuck with it, it's not going to fuck with you. Meaning if you're like, hey, good costume, and you gave a fist bump, it'll give you a fist bump back, and both of you will be on your merry way. You'd be unscathed, but you'd had that brush with this evil entity. That's it. But if you did something nefarious to try to mug this entity, it would kill your ass right off the bat. But for them, it's a weird moral code. like it saw a kid being a dick in regards to taking way too much Halloween candy, and that his brother or friend was like, "Hey, that's not right. What you're doing is not right." The Jester was pretty much like, you could tell, even though the character Jester was a silent character, it was like, kid's got a point. You know what? I'm taking candy out of your bag and I'm putting them in here. But eventually he scares the two kids off, but he doesn't hurt the kids. He just like, I'm dealing justice here. I am being evil, but I'm not being evil.
Malevolent.
Malevolent. There's going to be malevolence only when somebody wants to play
warranted.
fuck around and find out. Yeah. It was is it worth the rental? Yes, it's worth the rental. It's worth the watch. It's the blood and gore is not that, it's there, but it's not that bad. It's not like watching the Terrifier where you see somebody get cut in half in a way. But there is gore, there is a story. It is worth the rental. It's worth the heck. It's worth the, if you're into indie horror like me and Sasha, it is worth the purchase. Sasha, I'm sure you have my login and password for Voodoo. It's there. Check it out if you got a chance. So,
Certainly will. If I had to, basically recommend a underrated horror film, and of course I'm gonna go mainstream. Why stick, to just indie? Because there are many mainstream horror films that are horribly underrated. I would have to go with Brain Scan. And a lot of people don't know about Brain Scan. It's a early 90s movie based on a kid played by Edward Furlong, who's got like this humongous crush on his next door neighbor, obsessed with horror. And he reads in a horror magazine about the latest experiment in ultimate terror. You can get this CD game called, Brain Scan. And he plays the game, except the game and reality kind of blur, and he's kind of haunted by a very similar Jester kind of character that we just talked about. And you're not sure what's real and what's not. And he's slowly getting accused of murders in his neighborhood because the murders that happen in the game are happening in real life. And it is a very interesting movie. Yes, it kind of ends on a cliche ending, because the disc gets passed on to his teacher that's judgmental about horror movies, but it's still kind of left in the gray if he was actually killing people or not. And it's a very interesting early 90s take on those video games called violence. And I don't believe that personally, but this movie takes that concept that adds like a real element of horror to it, because the murders that are happening in the game are possibly happening for real.
I think I didn't see it, but it rings a bell. In a way, I might have seen the title come across my Netflix feed when I had Netflix, or it's come across my feed. I'm sure it's probably on Shudder or someplace.
But the Jester character that's like the host of the game, very menacing. He has a very Freddy Krueger element, and watching it now, you're like, why did this not become a franchise? Because the game's clearly getting passed along. There's other people who have ordered the game. And I love the fact that the game is ordered via telephone and it just shows up. And like, think about how we can get games today. You could rent them online, or you can hop on Amazon and have them next day shipped to your house. And it's an eerie foretelling of the future and virtual reality and the blurring between reality and artificial intelligence and then violence in gaming. And I think it's a good story, and it's a shame because like the actor that kind of portrays like the host of the game that kind of manifests to taunt the main character, he could have been the next Freddy Krueger. And the guy was actually like a stage performer and a mime and didn't have a Hollywood career before that. And sadly, this is his only film credit.
Wow. Is it you don't see a lot of that, and it's very rare that you see someone that's not really a evil protagonist or a protagonist like that, whether it be a protagonist or hell a hero that is dead silent throughout the whole run. I think
Well, he's not
you
silent.
have
The jester in the game is not silent, but it's interesting because he's kind of helping the player, which is Edward Furlong, John Connor from T2, along in trying the game. And there's gets to points where it's like, look, you're going to get caught by the cops if you don't start hiding evidence. Oh, you killed your best friend. Oh, there's body parts of him up in the freezer. You need to get rid of that, home slice. And it's even got what's his name? Was in Lord of the Rings, was a major Hammer horror guy, Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's in it. Yep, he plays like the police detective that's on Edward Furlong's ass. And it's good.
Hand it to Christopher Lee, man. Christopher rest his soul. I'm sure he passed away a good many years ago. I think he was like, last time I heard, he was like 95, 96.
The dude was the model for James Bond because he knew Ian Fleming.
Yeah.
He was a horror incarnate when it came to horror Hammer films. Like, this is a guy who literally has played Dracula as much as he's played Van Helsing. Okay, the guy was good, and he had a death metal band.
Yeah. Here's one of the few people I remember. It pops up on my feed every now and again in regards to like behind the scenes for Lord of the Rings, and
the stabbing
talking about like the stabbing
that's
is
not
like
how a person
he's one of
reacts
his
when
like
they're
that's
stabbed
not
in the
how
back.
reacting to a stabbing. He's like, I'm the director. He's like, yeah, but the thing is, I've done it before.
And he's like, yeah, then I had a very long conversation about some clandestine things he did in World War II, which I will not repeat here.
Like, fuck, wait, Mr. Lee, you win. I'm out. I'm out. And
I mean, somebody who can literally play both Dracula and Van Helsing already has it in spades in my book.
We're also talking about a gentleman when it came to the animated movie, The Last Unicorn. He pretty much like, yeah, I want to do this, but this speech has to be in the movie. Yep. This speech that the count I think you played, it has to be in the movie. And dude, what are you gonna do? It's Christopher fucking Lee,
Go tell him no.
No,
he'll stab you in the back. Because he's done it. Yeah, he'll do it again.
He did. It's like, if that's the only condition other than paying you, Mr. Lee, then we'll do it. But
yeah, and it made the movie better.
And it made a movie, yeah.
He knew what he was
to the guy.
But check out Brain Scan. I know, like, a lot of people must have saw it back in the video store back in the day. It's a cult film because there's only so many few of us that know about it. But it is so good. And it's one of those movies where you're like, why was this not franchised? Because it still hit when Edward Furlong was still relevant. Christopher Lee, great, on the point, on the nose. The whole debate on video games and violence, and does movies make violent people? And the movie itself basically says no, people have to make that decision themselves.
And the thing is, especially since it was the mid-90s, you could say it was the precursor to The Ring before The Ring.
Yeah,
in a way.
And it was a CD-based game. And let's be honest, like in the early 90s, yes, there was a lot of CD-based games, but nothing with that quality of graphics. And like anybody who played like CD games were used to those full motion video point and click games,
right,
which were just wretch at the time, especially if you had a Sega CD. But then you see what the PlayStation did later on, and you're like, wow, this movie kind of predicted that, And it's poignant, it's timely. It doesn't matter if you're a gamer or not, but if you're into horror, you're into gaming, and you just love fucking Christopher, watch this movie.
Give it a watch. I might have to find out where it is in the price on it. Hopefully it's on like Shudder or Tubi or Freevee.
I think it was last time I watched it was on Shudder. because it's one of them cult classics that occasionally gets reprinted by like Severin or Olive Films or Scream and Shout Factory.
It's always something like that. And I was thinking about that. We'll get into, folks, we'll get into FNAF in a sec. It's just one of those something I was thinking about the other night. It brought back because it's November. I had my mom passed well over 10 years ago, like late October, early November. And one of the memories that popped in was what happened. I don't know when the last time you were here in Martinsburg area, other than visiting me at my 9 to 5, but you know where basically it's going down Route 11, like if past Lowe's, you're going down by that major plaza that's
I know where you're at.
that used to have the Lowe's there, and but a little ways down, they have a smaller plaza which had has Battery Mart store in it. It had Dollar General and had a couple other stores. And one of the places that they had in there was a store called Big Al's. And the only reason why it brings up, because I keep thinking about the South Park character Big Gay Al. No, Sasha is allowed to call me out, but it just, that's how I remember it. In the front part of the store, they had movies that, like Sasha would say, reprint movies, VHS tapes that were reprints from, hey, it's this movie. Heck, it's where I found my copy of Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Walmart didn't have it. Target didn't have it. Kmart didn't have it. This run-of-the-mill, hole-in-the-wall store had it. So it was the case of shut up and take my money, please.
Yep.
But in the back, not even the back eighth of the store, we're talking maybe about from left to right, maybe about 25 feet, and maybe about 15 feet from wall to wall was their porno section.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember porno sections.
And I say that because one day, and every time my mom wanted to walk into that particular Dollar General, I'd pop in Big Al's to see if they had anything new, anything that I wanted to pick up, especially if I had a couple of bucks in my pocket. Did I go back into the porno section? Hey, if you've been curious, you go back in the porno section just to see what they have.
Everybody's hugging.
Everybody's hugging. Now,
did it have a beaded curtain? Tell me it had a beaded curtain.
No, it was like a little bit of an L.
Okay.
Corner. I mean, it had like a little doorway.
Every mom and pop video store that I'd ever been as a kid always had a beaded curtain. And ever since then, I always think something wild and crazy is going on behind beaded curtains. And most times I go across the beaded curtain, I'm never surprised.
Now, the counter that they had to check out was like half the counter was in the adult section. The other counter was in the normal section. And the final time that I went into Big Al's, I noticed that they started to have a lot of the sexy lingerie in the front, and I was like, they're converting it all to adult stuff. Good chance they're not going to have the stuff that anything new or interesting that I'm looking for. So I spent maybe about 5 minutes in the front part, and I left to go into Dollar General. And because my mom was about 4'10", not even 5 foot even, things synced up where good chance when I was looking for her, we passed each other, meaning she was on one side of the aisle. I was on the other side of the aisle that I didn't notice her. Not to mention she's 5, maybe not even 4'11". I'm looking around Dollar General, not seeing her. I'm like, I'll just go out by the car and I'll wait for her there. No sooner did I hit the car, she's coming out of Big Al's. And she's like, do you know they sell porn in there? I went, yeah. She said, I went looking for you and they have porn in there. I'm like, I know, Mom. How long did you go back there? Yeah, briefly, because I was fucking curious. What? I didn't know they sold stuff like that. I'm like, oh dear God, Mom. You just lost your innocence by going in there and find it's like,
There are
Mom,
worse ways to lose your innocence.
I'm like, Mom, I wish I was in there just to see your fucking face, the look on your face, to see some of the stuff that they had in that bag.
Somebody once asked the artist Paul Pope about how he felt about his loss of innocence. You know what his statement was?
What?
I think I overpaid.
and just it's like, why did you go in the back, Mom? She's like, well, I didn't see you in the front, and I asked the cashier if she saw you. She's like, well, he could be in the back here, back section, and that's where I wanted him. Like, oh crap. So it's not funny. I said, yes, it's funny. It's
funny.
It's hysterical. It's funny. It's like, don't tell him. Like, yeah. Good chance I'm going to be talking.
It could be worse.
When I speak to my uncle this upcoming Thanksgiving, I'm going to be telling him that story. So, hey, Uncle Bob, you want something? I know you're with family right now. How about a smile? I'm going to tell you a story about your sister, my mom. You're going to want to hear this. Don't put me on speaker. You'll love it. You might get a smile out of it.
Family bonding. So what do we got left? Just 5 Nights at Freddy's?
5 Nights at Freddy's and Rick and Morty.
Okay. Well, we drop into Rick and Morty. We'll let the FNAFers wait until the very end.
Very end. We'll save that for part 2. We'll hint at it.
Now, I haven't watched the new season yet. I've seen like the trailer with the new voices, and I'm just kind of like, I gotta see it in action. So Chris here, I guess, has already sampled some of the episodes. And
yeah, I have. I'm up to thanks to Voodoo and the episodes being that my eyes can't really tell the difference between standard and high def and all that fucking shit. So yeah, I go the cheap route and I get the standard version of everything, but still, it's still the episode. I have everything or watched everything up until the current episode, which is episode 5. The voices are slightly different, but if you don't have the ear for what voice actors, meaning I know some people could tell when like
different
Billy West
Muppets.
Like with the Muppets, or if you know the artist like Tara Strong or Billy West, people could tell who, without looking at the credits, oh, that's Tara Strong voicing that character, or that's Billy West voicing that character. There is, but if you don't know that, you could barely, unless you're playing one with the original voice actor, like
side by side,
and side by side, you're not really going to notice a difference. But all in all, it doesn't really hurt the quality of the episode, but the fans are having an outrage for it. I've enjoyed the season so far, and to quasi spoil, not spoil, episode 5 is, for those who haven't seen it yet, is the episode with evil Morty in it. So you might want to check it out. There's they have a few, like a lot of seasons, they have a lot of so far, a few good episodes, few bad episodes, but I've enjoyed the evil Morty episode, so I'm not going to spoil exactly what happens in that episode, but there is a lot of war drop in regards to it. So
good. So hopefully that turns out.
And hopefully it turns out, and hopefully we have like 2 episodes, at least I think 2 episodes left. So and it all depends
Or
on
at least until they do a
how.
whole mid-season bullshit.
I doubt that. I think it's not going. I think it's just going to be 7 episodes, and they're planning on not doing a mid-season drop or anything like that. It's what they're thinking of. A lot of fans are speculating is that it's going to be like I think season 6 or season 5, where both Rick and Morty went their separate ways for a little while, and it was in essence one big episode, but they split it to 2 separate episodes, that sort of thing. But we'll see when the episodes drop, if and when the folks behind the seasons are behind the show actually do it.
All right.
And before one last thing before we go into the FNAF, I was this old when I realized the same. I'm saying it in the nicest way possible. The same fuckers that brought us the Feltmation Santa Claus movies and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer also gave us Thundercats.
Yeah, Rankin Bass.
Fuck you too, traitor.
Rankin Bass also gave us The Last Dinosaur in conjunction with Toho. There's a head fuck for you. They were responsible for an Americanized Toho adventure flick that had American cast as well as Japanese cast. And it was about a hunting party that goes to take out the last dinosaur hidden up in Antarctica or something like that. And it's got a main character named Maston Thrust, and all I gotta say is that dude missed an opportunity to be a porn star. He looks hideous, but he would have been okay for the 70s, because everybody in the 70s that was a big star back were hideous looking chuds. So yes, if you're a hideous looking chud, you may have a chance at being a 70s porn star. Work on your time machine now.
I missed my calling. Shit.
Gotta have a good name. You gotta have a good name.
I'm going back to
time
the
travel.
70s.
You might be able to steal that one.
I'm going if time travel right now, back in the 70s, even the 60s, you could fake an identity back then. That's no problem.
You'll just show up Maston Thrust. You're hired just on your name alone.
Harry Master Thrust. Hired. Knowing my dumb luck. Yeah, we have this nice upcoming artist for you to have fun with. Oh, really? What's her name? Miss Lords. Oh, fuck. Would be my luck.
Oh, well. Such things happen.
Either that or I'll be the first motherfucker. You know she's not 18, right?
Oh, shit.
Shit.
Hey, wait, it is the 70s.
Right. For those of you who know, you know. Oh. Now, time for the peak resistance.
Yes.
What some
Five
of you
Nights at
have
Freddy's.
waited the whole episode. Heck, maybe depending on how I want to cut this episode, because some of you want that fixed. You waited until Friday for the episode. Five Nights at Freddy's. I got a chance to see it because once I realized it was on Peacock, I was like, thank freaking God. I didn't have to go to the theater to see it, but it was
better in
on
the
Peacock.
theater. I won't lie, it was a better theater experience because we were surrounded by fans.
I'll say this: I seen the when it was that wave hit on TikTok, folks bring posters. I'm talking size of like pillows, posters of Markiplier to the film and putting those posters on like the lower corner of the screen just so they could have a Markiplier experience while watching the film.
Yeah, because he was absent, but he's filming his movie version of Iron Lung, and that's why.
Sadly, maybe he'll make an appearance in the sequel.
Two. Yep, we are getting two more movies.
Two. And it was I was probably one of the, I'm sure the fans probably noticed him, but seeing Matt Pat part of the movie,
Yep.
I think
And the taxi driver was also a YouTuber.
I think I didn't recognize the taxi driver. I would have recognized
my kid did, so, and so did the audience. So I kind of got a backwards education. Matt Pat I recognized right away. Well, it's just a theory, and it's like, seriously.
Yeah, if he didn't say it, we would have been pissed.
Yes.
I think with both if it wasn't for Markiplier and Matt Pat, I think, and probably a few other YouTubers, FNAF would not have been as big as it was. Probably.
I don't know. I remember my kid getting into the game, like the very first game, and it wasn't just Matt Pat in the beginning, because like there was Let's Plays and people were finding the secrets, and then Willow was finding the secrets, and the books came out, the comics came out, and it was horror, and it's like, yo, hey, I get to share an interest with my kid. And I kind of got addicted to the series through them because I saw their excitement. You know how that kind of feeds into each other. And it's like, all right, cool. Right. You know, I'm glad that you're into this trippy, weird kitty murder ripoff of the children's gambling parlor ran by a rat whose name we won't mention.
But did it do a good job with everything, it being PG-13?
Yes.
Yeah. Sadly, it's wasn't rated R. Shucks. But
you wanted to sell to the kids.
You got to sell to the kids. You got, because that's where the audience was. They did a good job with it.
They went hard. They still went hard.
They went hard. They definitely did a hard PG-13 with it.
They didn't dial back.
They didn't dial back. Considering folks, if you want to see like an R-rated version of it, I can't speak for Sasha. Probably if there's probably an R-rated cut, and it'll probably be released on like Vudu or something like that,
Blu-ray
or Amazon. But if you, for the moment, if you want an R-rated fix of a version of that, I recommend Willy's Wonderland. It's probably the closest you'll get to an R-rated version for now of that.
And you get Nicolas Cage.
And it's got Nicolas Cage, who is,
if you want something that's really dark but still has the kid involvement, watch what Warner Brothers did with Banana Splits, because that's dark and violent.
Right. But this was very well done for what it was. It, from what I heard, it takes place, a lot of folks might have whined, bitch, and complained that it has nothing to do with the game. It didn't take place since
the first game.
It's based on the first game, but it's, from what I was told, it's its own universe.
It has its like, it kind of develops the story of Mike Schmidt, who you play in the first game,
right,
as to why he's doing that job, because otherwise you're just a guy sitting at a desk watching security cams and trying not to get killed for 5 nights.
Like I was saying, it's its own universe outside of what we know, the big fans know, but it's a good place for folks that never really played the games, never watched Matt Pat, never watched Markiplier, never really dove into the lore. It's a good starting point for especially the parents who have kids that played this game, watched Markiplier, watched Matt Pat. It's a good place for the parents to kind of get into it.
And I love the fact that they did not give us too much William Afton. A lot of people got pissed about that. So, there's not enough Springtrap, not enough William Afton. Like, did y'all forget the first game? We had the purple guy who set up the job for Mike Schmidt, and then stuff was hinted about at William Afton. And we didn't really deal with Springtrap until later on in the game series. And like, we're getting that taste. Matthew Lillard's already got a 3-picture contract out of this. We're going to get more Springtrap and William Afton. It's a given.
And the thing is, speaking of Matthew Lillard, the kind-hearted soul that he is, I want to say, I don't know him personally, but he comes off on like his TikToks and all that as a very kind-hearted soul. I
he's
want to
been
try his.
Shaggy. He's been
Yeah,
Shaggy for an entire generation.
I think he has his own whiskey out, or
Yep.
I want to try that.
Well, what was funny because
yeah,
his kids were the ones that convinced him. They're like, "Dad, you need to do this movie." Yeah, but it's a small part. It's going to build into something bigger for you. This is going to be huge. And yeah,
yeah,
if it wasn't for his kids talking him into it, we probably wouldn't see as much as
and
Matthew Lillard we're going to see now.
he's like, because at the time of the movie's release, the strike was still happening. He was kind of hiding promoting it uh on TikTok. If you watch some of the videos
Yep.
during that he dropped, he was like, "Yeah, I'm going over to Freddy's for a few nights. I don't know, maybe about 5." He was saying stuff like that. Like he was going up to the line without actually approaching the lines. Like, "Yeah, I can't talk about the movie that's just. I just wanted to come on here real quick, telling you that I hope you can join me at coming to my friend's place. I'm going to be there for 5 nights. His place is called Freddy, so I hope you stuff like that." He wasn't really promoting it, but promoting it. But
I'm just
it was
ecstatic
fun to see
because
that.
with 5 nights kind of rocketing him into stardom yet again, and with the Scream franchise still being pretty relevant, I got a funny feeling we may see him in Scream 8 because
And
they've hinted enough and bashed us to death that Stu isn't dead. And
yeah,
it's
we
like,
got folks at home. One, if you watch it either in theater or right now, I don't know if it's still in theater. You are able to find it on Peacock. There is a mid-credit scene in regards to it, and there is a tail end Easter egg.
it's a puzzle.
You have to pick. It's a puzzle. You have to write it down. I didn't real. I heard it. I was intrigued. It wasn't until again, watching TikTok and them revealing what is, because all you hear is COME, and you're like, what the hell is going on? All of a sudden, you find out it's come find me. It spells out come find me, and it's that trope that a lot of 80s and 90s horror had, is that little bit of an Easter egg of some, a sequel without actually that tail end of, hey, the slasher's still alive. It's a little bit of a hint to a sequel.
In a way,
It's
but
a
not
trope.
exactly. But...
Yeah, it's a new take on a trope in a way.
Well,
It's
I'm
for
talking
the
about the
fans.
character being alive. They're not alive and they're not quite dead. It's
But I'm just making that reference to that, it being a aha. I figured it was going to do that shit. Not FNAF, my computer. I was wondering why it was being a little bit laggy before we started. Apparently, there's going to be an update. Yay!
well, that's good because we're finishing off FNAF, and that sounds like a good place to
So
stop for the night. So
yes, but folks, will I be probably purchasing FNAF? I have so many. It'll be in my queue to pick up at some point. I have so many movies in my
if
wish
they have
list.
an extended R-rated cut,
Yeah, I'll probably Sasha will probably be getting it prior to me, and I'll probably be watching it there.
you'll be bogarting it.
I'll be bogarting it, and we'll probably be talking about it here. So let me put it like this: it's not just a promise; it's a promise.
It's a promise.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a
I
promise.
personally am definitely going to pick it up on video, especially if there's an extended R-rated cut. Because you could tell there were some scenes where it was toned down. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm a fan because of my kid, and my kid super enjoyed it. And I know a lot of critics shed on it because I don't get it. And it's like, because the movie wasn't made for you, it was made for the fans that have been following this for the last 13, 14 years, however long it's been. And for some odd
And
reason,
it's
critics don't get that.
was it a hit in theaters? Did it make bank in
Yes.
theaters?
Yes, it's still in theaters. In fact, what is it? Peacock's now regretting putting it on their network or their streaming channel. They're like, we should have, or was it Paramount? I can't remember which one. Is it Peacock or Paramount?
It's Peacock.
It's Peacock. Yeah, Peacock's regretting it because now they're like, we were making so much money at the theater. Imagine if we released this at theaters and then dropped it on Peacock.
So it's good for it's yes, I'll say this. After so many years that of we want a FNAF. We want a FNAF movie. We want a FNAF movie. Not getting it and getting banana splits. Not getting it and getting Willy,
Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland. And
but
now
they're both good
finally
movies.
getting it. Both very good movies. But now finally getting it after with a lot with especially with what a lot of folks have been saying about the Hollywood industry. I'll put it like that. I'm going to be on the other side of the fence, and Sasha's allowed to yell at me.
At the end of the day, and here's the thing I want to bring up. This is something that a lot of non-mainstream people that have followed this from the beginning have not known. Scott Cawthon has been 100% involved with this. In fact, he had told Hollywood, no, you're not giving me a contract for something I created. I'm giving you a contract, and the moment you break those terms, I pull my movie. And that's why so many studios had started production on FNAF and then had to pull out because Scott was like, no, I don't like where this is going. Sorry, you don't have the rights. Bye. Because he had worked in the video game industry for so long. He had churches screw him over on contracts for making games for them. And he's like, no, I ain't doing the contract system. I built this franchise and this whole story on my own as an indie game developer. You want to make a multi-million-dollar movie, you do it by my rules or you don't do it at all. And that is indie spirit, if you be honest, because he knew what he had, he knew what his property is.
Saying, and it's like, I'm going to go on the right side for a lot for Smedge. A lot with it's what a lot of folks like me and I think Sasha have been saying for years. We need new content. We need new content. Second time, here's new content. That's number one. Number two, this movie is based on a video game. And we don't, over the past 20, 30 years, we have not had the movies based on video games that are good are few and far between. That's number two. Number three, this is showing a lot of the big studios that we as an audience are sick and tired of certain aspects at times shoved down our fucking throat.
Yep. And
it's going to be that prime example that a lot of folks, what about FNAF? That was a success. What about Top Gun 2? That was a success. What about this? That's a success. Because it might not support a narrative. These are great stories. And it's where I come from a lot of times and where I get pushback and a lot of other people get pushback, where I might be the right side of the aisle sometimes and when Sasha's on the left side. But again, we agree. A lot of times we agree on a lot of the points. But it's that this was a breath of fresh air. I enjoyed this movie. It's good to see. And let me put it like this. For those who out there that do critique it fairly. If you feel like a movie that is out there, whatever it is not for you, and don't watch. Don't watch. If you think FNAF is not for you, don't watch it. Just don't bitch about it. Don't. You have
not
no
every
right
movie is made for everybody. I hate to
Right.
say it. Not every book is written for everybody. They have core audiences.
And the thing is, I'll bring the case in point is I'm very critical about the 2016 Ghostbusters movie.
Yep.
The reason why I'm critical about it is because I watched it. I watched it. I think I watched it twice.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
I'm not a fan, and I have the right to critique it. I've watched the final sequel of Star Wars movies. Was I highly critical of it? Yes, I was, because I watched it. And it's not just because of member berries and nostalgia bait. I watched it, therefore going, I have a right to talk about it. I have a right to an opinion about it. I want, and Sasha's, if she watches something, she has a right to talk about it. And if I watch it and I say, these are my issues with it, I didn't like those issues. And if Sasha likes those issues that I don't like, hey, there could be issues in movies that I like, Sasha doesn't like, and vice versa.
Exactly.
There could be reasons. And sometimes let's take Brain Scan. I could watch it and not like it. Sasha could love it. It doesn't mean, it could be a good movie. It could be a bad movie. Heck, both me and Sasha love bad movies. There's plenty
I
of
will say it's a good bad movie, but you can see that there's something there with Brain Scan. I don't know how to describe it. There's a reason that it's underrated, but there's something there, and I don't know how to describe that.
So, with that, I think we've been at this like close to 3 hours, if not a little bit longer. We started 5:36,
something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, I promise we're gonna have a double-sized episode. Even though a lot of that was I'm going to pre-show.
Pre-show. But hey, it took a while. It's good to have this, like I said, folks, this episode was probably chopped up into 2 parts. One is going to be dropping on probably dropped on the usual Wednesday. The other one is will be dropping on Black Friday sometime. So
yep. So you can enjoy watching that after you enjoy consumerism and mass consumption the day before.
I'll probably be dropping the full 3 out, this whole thing on Black Friday. But audio, the folks at home listening to audio, you're probably hearing this section on Black Friday. So,
yep. Hope you bought your big screen TV and you killed a few people doing it.
Remember, folks, if you're recording at any chaos on Black Friday, do not hold your phone like you're making fall. Turn it on its side.
Yes,
we want that horizontal, not vertical.
We want that full widescreen presentation.
Right. So because of all this, we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, if not, hope you have a wonderful, I think it already happened, a
Happy Colonizers Day of Mass Consumption.
Let me put it like this, even though it might have happened already. May you have a wonderful Wolfen Newt.
There we go.
Look it up.
Yes, I'm familiar.
So
with that, as I always say, take scare, creep it real, and unpleasant streams. And he's a gamer, and he's in a bikini.
Right. And if you want to see that, it's going to cost you money. Tip jar in the description down below. As always, I'm a gamer. I might be wearing a bikini.
We're out. All right, let me pop this down and stop recording. Where are you at? There it is. Haha.